just gotta get out of my head a bit, out of the negative, out of the pessimist posture of doubt where everything's relative and everyone is my nemesis. Yeah, I just gotta get out of my bed again, get back in the game, though I might never win, the fight might never end, and nothing is forever, every day is heaven sent, and everything is better when I'm out of my head, the second I'm stepping out, whenever I look at you, the second I left the house, the scent of the fresh air, the wind that carries us, the feeling we'll get there. That's when we deal with what's real. Can't numb the pain to heal. One must feel the hurt for a season, but it hurts for a reason. Done dreaming now, I'm searching for meaning out of my head. Things are different. Out of my head. Things are different. Out of my head. Get out of my head a bit, out of the negative, out of the pessimist posture of doubt where everything's relative and everyone is my nemesis. Yeah, I just gotta get out of my bed again, look out my window, see through a better lens, look up to the sky, look up to better men, the brethren are getting together, I'm getting out of my head. Not everyone gets to live, death is definite, the rest ain't guaranteed, life is a gift we get to give, the world is desperate for us, I can't let it get out of my head. I can't see truth, but I can see proof the world's not lost. Whenever I see youth believing in magic, I believe that we have it. See that trick, poof, I'm out of my head. And I'm glad to be alive, glad to see the sky, the sun, I see it rise. The love I keep inside, that's why I need a rhyme. I need to breathe a sigh and let it out. Things are different.
don't give a damn. If the rhymes don't fit, the DJ quit. This song don't give a damn. You can't sing or dance to it, can't romance to it. This song ain't arrogant if you don't try and buy it, or if your radio denies it. Don't care about who got what's cool on TV or what spots hot, I forgot. I ain't mad at evolution, but I stand for revolution. Get up, enough is enough. Hey, somebody stand up, come on. Get up, stand up. Get up, stand up. Get up, stand up. Get up, stand up.
How many blood diamonds shining in that chain? How much compromise is tied to that fame? How many more times we gotta hear that lame line? I'm inspiring them to do what? Roll better weed and get higher than them. Feed the needy, greedy, aspiring them. Be the same damn dog with the finer women. They gon' tell me that I'm preaching to the choir and I'm showed it right, but I'm trying to light a fire in them. Cause I was raised by the enemy, and ever since then that's been my identity. So I'm trying to give back what was given me. Truthful delivery is my tendency. Youthful, the spirit up in my energy. Bottom of my feet is something that you'll never see. That's cause I'm standing, singing the anthem. This from my hand, and the list of demands. And when they hear this, might piss in their pants. And try to get the children not to listen to the man. But the mighty PE is what birthed Ali. So what you think gon' come after me?
Occupy if you deny. Post this song cause I see wrong. Most of my heroes still don't appear on no stamp. So I ran, even when they say I can. I rise against, rage against. Hope I don't end up being the same thing I'm fighting against. Hence, I wins, I'm never on the fence since they think the masses are powerless. I ain't on nobody's powerless. I ball my fist with my audience like this. I raise my fist with my audience. Yeah, like this. Get up. Stand up. Get up. Stand up.
Hello everyone, and welcome to session 3 of the Global Black Feminist Reading Circle. My name is Randie Henderson and I am one of the Black Feminist Reading Circle members of this online group. This session runs from January 20th until June 2nd and includes 2 week-long breaks. Our democratically selected reading material is Harriet A. Washington's book, Medical Apartheid, The Dark History of Medical Experimentation on Black Americans from Colonial Times to the Present. Our book group meets each Tuesday evening from 6:30 to 8 on the Google Plus Hangouts on Air platform. You may find the Global Black Feminist Reader Circle on Google Plus, YouTube, and Facebook, and always feel free to join us in reading our story together.
I'd like to welcome everyone to the Global Black Feminist Reading Circle, Session 3, Tuesday, January the 20th to June the 16th. Our session will be from 6:30 to 8 p.m. I am your moderator today. This is meeting 18, June the 9th, 2015. My name is Joel Jones. I'd like to welcome everyone that's on YouTube, Facebook, the whole 9 yards. Like I said, my name is Joel Jones. I'm the moderator. The co-hosts are Michelle Odom and Randie Henderson. And I would like, at this time, we'd like to introduce all the members of the groups. We'll start from the furthest south and we'll work our way up north.
Oh, Georgia. That must be me. Okay. I'm Georgette Moses, participating from Columbia, South Carolina. And I'm glad to be here.
Welcome.
Hi, my name is Randie. I'm watching from Atlanta, and if you missed it last week, I'm sure it'll be mentioned at the end of this, but our next book is Parable of the Sawyer by Octavia.
Hi, I'm Kim, and I'm in Brooklyn, and good evening, everybody.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
And I'm also in Brooklyn, New York. My name's Michelle Odom.
How you doing, Michelle?
I'm good.
Hi, my name is Venita Walker, and I am joining you from Cromwell, Connecticut. Welcome.
Oh, okay. This is the epilogue here, medical research with blacks today.
Harriet Washington has exposed in detail the misuse of Black Americans as the convenient subjects of profitable medical research. They were powerless, maligned, and abused not strictly for scientific knowledge, but to support American cultural beliefs, politics, and economic trends. The social and legal landscape has changed dramatically from the times of slavery, and medical research practices have followed suit. It's safer for African Americans to participate in clinical trials, and necessary. However, we must be informed, vigilant, and actively engaged in the process. We must guard against the erosion of informed consent and the laws that protect us. She warns that colonialism, residual racism, and classism have allowed Western medical researchers to continue their abuse on the vulnerable people in Africa and other non-white colonies and territories. Washington offers some solutions to improve the quality of medical research for African Americans, which would also positively affect other communities. Finally, she outlines challenges that will enable African Americans to not only survive, but hopefully thrive while interacting with the American medical system.
This African American tragedy is also an American tragedy. Washington offers her ideas in achieving the cure. Prepare the system of institutional review boards, IRBS, by comprising them on an equal number of scientists and peers of the group who will be asked to participate as students, including a medical ethics and a medical historian. 2. Stop the erosion of consent by recognizing the right of every patient to say yes or no as an absolute value, and stop using vulnerable groups like soldiers, unconscious emergency room patients, and third world peoples as experimental subjects without their input. Institute a coordinated system of mandatory subject education. Every institution receiving government funds for research should be required to hold 3 classes informing the subjects about how the research is conducted, the risks and benefits of the research, their legal rights and moral responsibilities, what questions they should ask, and how to maximize their chances of getting the best results from the clinical trial they enter. Only these people should be permitted to serve on IRBs. Embrace a single standard of research ethics at home and abroad. The federal government has the power to force pharmaceutical companies to lower their prices or suspend patent reinforcement in poor countries. I'm sorry, let me just read that again. The federal government has the power to enforce pharmaceutical companies to lower their prices or suspend patent enforcement in poor countries.
Okay, I'm going to continue on because we're going to have a great conversation here. Washington challenges us to take ownership of medical research issues and to set our own agendas. Tuskegee University National Center for Bioethics and Research in Healthcare is taking a leadership role in that by providing education for scholars and laypersons on medical research. Project Impact helps Black Americans safely navigate clinical trials using brochures, websites, and providing access to experts. The work can be expanded through church, health fairs, social organizations, and community activism. Here is what she is specifically asking African Americans to do. Bring medical research education to the fore of American health agenda. Familiarize ourselves with informational documents on books, websites, and elsewhere. Join an institutional review board and ask the hard questions of physicians who are recruiting in your community. Join appropriate clinical trials after which we have determined they are worthwhile and relatively safe. Change our attitudes towards medical research and demand our place at the table to enjoy the rich bounty of American medical system in the form of longer, healthier lives. Will you participate in the medical research as Ms. Washington suggests after reading this book? Why or why not? Two, 5, do you trust the medical systems? Why or why not? Anyone? Or can comment on what has been read and answer the questions.
I guess I'm skeptical. I saw something in the paper that said they wanted to help with asthma research and they would pay you $900. And I just kind of looked at it and I said, no way. No, that wouldn't happen. I think there is a polarity between health and money. And I think money wins in a lot of medical systems, where there was someone on Medgar Evers radio this week saying that the health department had allowed this company to do kidney dialysis work. And the company decided that they underbid this contract, and in order to win the bid at that price, they eliminated certain steps and they eliminated certain staff members. And so the dialysis patients started to die. And so after a while, when they started to see this trend, the health department came back and took the process over again. And so there was this loss of life in the interim. So I just don't trust that when it comes to money, that somebody's not always looking for a back door so that they can marginalize my care so that they can make a little bit more money in some way, shape, or form. That's the way I see it. I see it as this backdoor thing where the second you plug one hole, there's a new hole. And I get confused between when we're talking about research and when we're talking about cutting costs so that it helps medical companies make more money. And the last thing I'll say is that in terms of, they have this new thing where all your information, they want complete access to all your information, all your medical files in any system. They want to link every system, and you have absolutely no privacy, so they know what you said to your therapist. And I just think that that will come back to bite people and if there is some sort of lawsuit or something like that. So I just don't trust it. Why do you need to know all about me, every single thing, when I don't see it benefiting you? So anyway, those are my comments.
Randie?
So I'll start from Roman numeral 2. So my favorite ideas of hers in terms of her ideas in achieving the cure are the last two: institute a coordinated system of mandatory subject education and embrace a single standard of research ethics. I like the first one I read mainly because I really do think that we need multiple classes on people. You know, sometimes I have to read stuff twice too. And people are, you know, we have different types of learners. We have visual, auditory types of learners, tactile learners, and maybe each class can focus on that so people can really have informed consent. And even if they're unconscious or in a situation like that, they can have somebody that they trust that can advocate for them as well. I like the embrace single standard of research ethics because that means these companies can go to Africa and show out when they know they couldn't do the same thing in America. How to reinforce that, I'm not so sure. which is to me the biggest problem. How do you enforce that these companies, you know, follow these standards when, you know, they don't have cameras on them all the time, and there's no really way to really make sure that they don't have like 1 or 2 patients on the side where they're doing what they want to do while they, you know, do the other patients right. I don't know. It's a little sketchy, but those are my top 2. And the third Roman numeral, Washington challenges us to take ownership of medical research issues. I do think that all of this is a good idea, but I also think that doctors need to have a more broader sense of what they're doing as well in terms of treatment. I had a teacher, I did a summer course, and she was in the Peace Corps, and she stayed in Cameroon, and she said she had a friend who was also in Cameroon who got some type of worm in her belly, and because the doctors had never seen this worm and didn't know much about Africa or any of its countries, they did like surgery on her to get this little thing out of her, when all they really had to do was put Vaseline on the spot and it would have killed the worm. Which is what they do in Cameroon to get rid of it. There's no open, you know, surgery or nothing. And her friend was like on bed rest forever because they had to open her up to find this thing because they had no clue. And so our doctors aren't really very, or a lot of the doctors aren't really very knowledgeable about the world in terms of different ways to address things, which adds to, I think, the iatrophobia that we have. Because they really don't know either. And they want to do all these clinical trials as a way to experiment and research, mainly because they are in the dark as well.
Well,
I'm sorry, Joel.
Well, it kind of like, you know, I'm trying to get to New York, but I'm going 95 south. I never get there. And that's, I think, you know, if you look at the system that we're talking about, when you talk about the friend in Cameroon, and so, you know, very seldom do you have Western doctors want to merge with Eastern or African medical systems and whatnot, and these are even the Chinese medicine that are very, very good. You understand what I'm saying? We got 2 things that we do in this country. We give you a pill or we cut. That's how we heal. I mean, that's it. You know, if they can't do that for you, you have to get out of their office because they don't know anything else. But go ahead, Randie, you had another thought?
Just do I trust the medical system? I don't know. I feel like such a hypocrite. Like I don't trust it, but I gotta live with it's necessary evil. I do my annuals. I go to the doctors. I let them do these invasive pap smears, which I hate. But you know, for the greater good. And I get birth control. You know, I'm participating in this medical system, but if I had it my way, you know, I wouldn't. If I had the money to produce children all the time, you know, I wouldn't be on birth control, but I don't. So I need to. And you know, if I wasn't human and didn't get sick, I wouldn't have anything to do with the medical system. But that's not, you know, the case. So I don't know. There's just so many. I see so many of my family members, I know I've talked about this with y'all before, who won't go to the doctor. Family members, my grandmother, who decided to not get any type of treatment for cancer. You know, she just kind of rolled it out. And who really will take fatal, desperate measures to avoid the hospital. And so those have definitely been influences on my concerns. This book has not helped. Maybe I need to be like Michelle and reread it. And maybe I will in like 3 years. But I don't know. I don't trust it, but I'm a part of it, and I engage in it and participate in it. So,
as far as third world countries, and if I may say, do anyone realize how many African doctors that we put out that come here to get educated from Africa in the United States of America? Now, maybe if some of those African doctors, which hardly happens, were going back to their countries to live and take their educations back to their countries, which rarely happens, because once they get here and get a little taste of our material things, you know, the McMansions and the other stuff that goes along with it, they usually stay in this country. You know, a lot of the third world doctors, people that come to study here to become physicians and to get into other aspects of our health field, they don't return to their countries. You know, and I think if they did, because of their culture, knowing their culture, and then coming to Western medicine and then dealing with their people, it might have more protection for third world countries. But you can't really ask the people to protect the folks that are doing the dirt. That's my take.
I think that's so interesting, Venita. When I studied abroad in Ghana, we had professors come to us, and they had all gotten their doctorates in the United States, and they had all come back, and they all said the same thing. They were so ashamed of their degree. They wanted to come home and help their people. They never really said why they were ashamed, but they all expressed like this deep dissatisfaction with themselves for deciding to travel here to get their education. And in Ghana, where I was, the hospitals, I mean, I can't even explain it. Like, we had my homestay family, my homestay mom's dad was in the hospital. We had to bring blankets and food for him because there was nothing. Like, there was no, when we showed up, he was just literally on a mattress, just laying. It felt more like a shelter than a hospital. And I don't know if there, that's more institutional racism, which keeps, countries in Africa at the lowest of the low, even when their people come home and try to educate them. A lot of people can't afford it. From what I heard, from what I saw, and it's the region I was. But the professors I had all came back, but they really weren't able to do as much for a lot of other reasons that was beyond them, which I think has a lot to do with like economic disparities and all of that. But I haven't really had like African doctors.
I'm talking about come back to live in their countries. I know quite a few African doctors. I don't mean come to visit, come to do missionary work for a month. I mean, come get your education and go back to your country to live.
Yeah.
Very few do that. They come here, they get a taste of the riches here. They may go back and do their missionary work for a month, back and do their missionary, you know what I'm saying? But they don't really go back to their countries to build their countries, to live in their countries and practice their practices there. So I think that it makes a huge difference between doing your missionary work than actual, doctors going back to live in their countries. Most that I know don't. They stay right here.
I ain't going back to Hamlet, North Carolina either. So I can see where they're coming from.
Oh, I'm not saying that, it's their own personal decision. I'm just saying that charity starts at home.
Yeah,
and that's what I've been told about us being here, is that charity starts at home. And I just said to individuals helping, it's just the culture, they know their culture, the languages. But we're going to try to do that from afar. We can't protect ourselves here. How are we going to protect people in the third world country? It's like we need a war on drugs. It's the same thing. Because it's too political. There's too many things going on. Besides being poor, I should say in addition to being very, very poor, it's scary. You think they do the same things to them as they did to us. It's just scary.
Georgette, Kim, Michelle?
I just wanted to point out that I have tried to access Harriet Washington's website in recent days, and it appears to be down. And so I don't know what she's up to these days, but I would imagine, she mentioned that there were a lot of resources on her website and educational materials about how to get involved and how to keep yourself safe in these clinical trials. But with her website being down, then then I think it's that much harder for us to do the groundwork to find those kinds of answers. I imagine though that seeing that her website was down made me think kind of what Joelle was saying earlier, that there are a lot of doctors who know about this book but don't want to talk about it. I would imagine that writing this book you know, did not make her rich and famous or popular. And, you know, and that's a shame, but that pretty much is the case when you do something, when you try to do something positive for the Black community, because, you know, while we can understand why medical professionals of all colors would not necessarily want to embrace the messages here, you know, it certainly seems like something that Black people should have, you know. I mean, this book is 2007, whatever. Should have really embraced and championed and carried forward. So, you know, that's how it is. But anyway, we're here now, and we've read it, and, you know, I'm extremely proud of this group for doing so. I don't know if I'll ever knowingly participate in a clinical trial. I think, as Venita said, you know, we're already participants, you know, without our knowledge or consent, and, you know, all kinds of things. Like, I've noticed the last few years that the mosquitoes haven't been bugging me so much. And I don't know what that's about, but, you know, having read about what we read about, now I wonder, well, why were there so many mosquitoes in the first place? You know, you don't know. So I don't know that I'll be the first one to jump up and join anything. But I don't think it's a matter of trust. I think it's a matter of, you know, of being informed consumers.
Get up! Stand up! Get up! Stand up! Get up! Stand up! Get up! Stand up!
This track ain't asking you a damn thing. Not the brand name, bottle with your champagne. Not where you land your private airplane. How many blood diamonds shining in that chain? How much compromise is tied to that fame? How many more times we gotta hear that lame line? I'm inspiring them to do what? Roll better weed and get higher than them. Feed the needy, greedy, aspiring them. Be the same damn dog with the finer women. They gon' tell me that I'm preaching to the choir and I'm showed it right, but I'm trying to light a fire in them. Cause I was raised by the enemy, and ever since then that's been my identity. So I'm trying to give back